pretty good to get started. Again, hello, good morning, good afternoon, some early morning for some parts of the world and probably afternoon for other parts. So glad you're here on this fourth and final day of the 8th Peer Apocalypse Conference. And I'm Janie Gullickson, Executive Director of the Mental Health and Addiction Association of Oregon. And on behalf of the Peer Apocalypse 2021 Planning Committee and MHAAO staff and volunteers, we welcome you to Thursday's sessions, keynotes, and events. So some announcements that we have. Oh, this is my favorite. We have 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Peer Apocalypse Got Talent. So that is always a fun and heartwarming event, and then followed by the Mad Hatter Dance Party with DJ Shots. And so I've got a great lineup of music, of talent, and if you haven't signed up to share a talent that you have, please do so. And that, again, that's from 5 to 7 Pacific time. And then just a reminder, you can continue to watch the Cured documentary until Friday night. That link is open and good to go. For CEUs, we are asking all conference attendees to submit their CEU tracking forms to a specific link. We'll have it in the chat and it is on the website too. And now I get the huge honor and pleasure of introducing my friend who has become like family. I just respect and adore her so much, Kimmy Takata, as our keynote speaker. And just a little bit about Kimmy. Using her experience as a former inmate at the Women's Community Correctional Center in Kailua, Hawaii, Kimmy, and I don't know if I said that right, so I apologize. Kimmy is supporting women who are incarcerated, creating a woman supporting women group to help women transition successfully and create a pathway of forgiveness and healing. Peer support is important to her because she understands the gifts that each person has and wants to help them see their gifts as they walk alongside each other. Kimmy currently works for the Puʻa Foundation, working directly with women coming out of prison. A little bit about the Puʻa Foundation is a nonprofit organization that connects resources for a better Hawaii society. They specialize in trauma to transformation and develop community resources through organizing, capacity building, and training. Strengthening families affected by incarceration is their key focus, and they believe we are stronger together than separate. Welcome, Kimmy.
Good morning, everybody. Aloha.
Hello.
My name is Kimmy, and I'm just gonna share a brief story about me. And I made a PowerPoint, but it's easier for me. But anyways, so I do work for the Puʻa Foundation. We help women transition out of prison, and we have started a Women Supporting Women, and also just started a peer support. So peer support goes a long way for us because it's not really recognized down here, but we have help from our friends in Oregon. So a little bit about myself. So actually, I feel like prison saved me, and some people might think different, but I feel like it did. Because I was a mother on drugs. I lost myself, I lost my soul, I lost my kids, and being in prison helped me to look at myself and stop me from hurting myself and others. I was forced to look at myself. It took me a while to accept, but eventually I did. And so, you know, I went to prison. I was sentenced to a 40-year term. A lot of drug charges, burglary, stuff like that. But they wanted to make an example out of me because my bunkie and I escaped from one of the prisons. So they had to make an example out of us. So they gave me an extended consecutive term, which equaled out to 40 years. So yeah. While I was in prison, you know, we went to different programs. So the first program was the Total Life Recovery Program, which spiritually helped me look at self and my spiritual self, and also helped me to find my faith. And then the other one is Hina Malka right here. It's a substance abuse program in the prison. And it's a 1-year program. And so I did 10 months in that program. And then I also have another one, which is called Prison Monologues, where we write our stories in poem form. And we share it with high school kids. So we got to go out of prison and into the community with our uniforms on and talk about read our poems to kids. And it was doing that and watching the kids and reading my story really helped me to understand, okay, so I left my kids behind. I have 6 kids and I left them behind. And I was thinking, you know, well, they're with their grandmother and so they're fine. So I didn't really, you know, I was very selfish. And then when I did the prison monologues, I saw how the kids reacted and they shared their story with us. And they said that their moms were on drugs and they believed that their moms didn't love them. And so that really broke my heart, because it really like I had to really look at myself. And these 3 programs right here has helped me to gain a lot of tools and a lot of knowledge, and it was very helpful. This is a video on Kids Day that we have in the prison. So our warden, Mark Patterson, started a Kids Day, which churches would come in and they would pay for families from outer islands and bring them to Kids Day, which we get to spend 3 hours with them, right? In a regular visiting hour, it'd be like 1 hour or 45 minutes, depending on the staff. And sometimes we don't get visits. So this is part of our prison monologues. We read our poems to the caretakers so that they understand what their daughters or their kids are going through. It's not an excuse why they did what they did, but just a little bit of understanding. So I'm just gonna play this. Can you hear?
Today, we want to dedicate our prison monologues to the caregivers. To the caregivers in a way that you stand between the gap when the role as mom cannot be fulfilled. So we thank you so much for being here today, and we dedicate this for you. Secondly, we want to dedicate this to the child, to the children who eagerly awaits for visits when weekend comes. Thank you so much for being here today. And most importantly, we want to dedicate our prison monologues to our Wellspring Covenant Church family. You are a household name in our facility in a way that your tireless dedication to make this event happen. I know you've seen us grow as inmates, as well as the children. You saw them grow. So for you, I know this is such a milestone for you, and only your love for God that you are doing this. And I thank you that you truly understand the importance of this time, mom and child together. Thank you so much for putting that in your priority.
This is God's purpose for us, you know, and we don't want people to feel sorry for us. We do this so you folks come to an understanding of who we are, where we've been, and where we're going in our lives, and how vital it is for our families to continue to be in our lives. You know, I'm sitting here and I can't explain to you guys how many times I've done this. How many places we've gone, we've had the opportunity to go out into the communities and talk about our experience here in prison. This lifestyle that each and every single one of us in these uniforms have experienced and lived. All of our stories are all the same, each and every single one of us. But never in my going on 6 years of doing time have I felt so overwhelmed with the feeling that I'm feeling right now, looking into children's eyes, mother's eyes, caregiver's eyes. And suddenly, like, this is just really, really different. The opportunity to sit a child on your lap and tell them that you love them, to be free in the world. You know, so many of us wasted so much time out there thinking that we knew what we wanted and what we were doing was somehow in a twisted way right. But you know, when you come into these walls, I don't care who you are and where you've been, at the end of every day, we think about all of you. So this piece is called Prisoner of Freedom. Many days pass me by. Do you know where I've been? Been locked in bigger prisons from far deeper within. And nothing can compare to all the time I've wasted away, enslaved to a game that every hustler wants to play. Ripping, robbing, banging, stealing, all to just get high. No shame in that game to all of those who wondered why. Because each day was fully dedicated to those who broke my heart, those who shattered all of my dreams and tore them all apart. And led up to the doors of this very prison gate, not knowing that behind the walls, my freedom secretly awaits, where a touch of an unknown presence brings a change upon my face, and suddenly my soul can feel something powerful in this place. Something I'm not able to describe, for the words I just cannot find. Only shed a tear for those I hurt and for the love I left behind. And as I move towards that distant call, a voice that calls to me, the voice I found right here in this prison, well then I guess this prison has set me free.
That's our prison monologue. Every time I watch that video, I always cry. But that's how we shared our stories, and we got it out to high school students, you know, and it was a two-way touch for me, because not only did we touch the kids, but the kids touched us. And so learning from that really helped me, you know, to just wake up, you know. Can prison be a place of healing? Yes, it can. You know, while I was in prison and I had to do Hinamalka, we had to make a affirmation that we had to tell. We had to stand up at dinner and say it out loud to everyone in the program. So my affirmation that I made was, like a dying rose, I was too weak to live. As each petal fell, along with it went hope for my future and trust from the ones I love. Every thorn represents hatred for anyone that abandoned the ways of my heart. My color faded to black as a shadow of my mother disappeared in the night. Today, my God provides me with the water of forgiveness and the sunlight of love. I slowly grow stronger, creating new petals of integrity. And as I grow radiantly into the color of my reality, it states that I am a servant fit for his purpose. And so that affirmation and saying it every day helped me to forgive the people that hurt me, the people that I hurt, and, you know, just to be more accountable. And so I started writing letters to my mom, who was very abusive, and she passed away while I was in prison. I started writing letters to her, and my counselor, she would tell me, you know, that's good, Kimmy, but I would like you to read it out loud. So I read it out loud, and I cried, and I slowly felt myself forgiving her and forgiving my dad. And all of that was in the transformation of getting out of prison, and while I was in prison, healing myself before I came out. So if I didn't do that, I would still be in prison. Anyway, my life after prison, I had restoration with my kids, love, connection with other kids, sharing our prison monologues with them. I graduated from, and I got my AA in Hawaiian Studies, and I work at the Puʻa Foundation, which was a very, when I came out of prison, I worked for the Puʻa Foundation, and I've been working there for 8 years. And through the 8 years, I learned so much through my boss and my coworker and everybody that I meet. And like, you know, when I went to prison with a 3rd grade level. I didn't know how to read, you know? And so my bunkie had to teach me how to read. You know, I learned a lot from my peers in prison. And so that's why I believe that peer support is super, super important. Hawaii peer support. These are our peers, our women. We have more women who are on the right track and want to help, you know, represent other women that are coming out of prison. You know, peer support to me is like the foundation that women need when they come out of prison. And, you know, with Janie and Jessica, they helped us to understand more, because we don't have that down here. But creating something like that to help the women transition out smoothly, where we can help them find their, you know, get housing, resources, and stuff like that. That is what we need the most. And, you know, I don't know, I do peer support without even knowing, every single day, right? And so doing this, it helping other women, it makes me feel better that they're going somewhere, that they have the resources, that they have housing, and that's important to me. You know, I have the best boss in the world. She's like the best boss ever. And she's so passionate about helping women that are transitioning out of prison. And so with her vision, she helps us to see farther than we can ever believe, like to just believe. And, you know, she believes in the women, she believes in us, she believed in me, you know, and she gave me a chance. And so without the support of my boss and my co-workers and my friends that are right now getting their masters and doctrines, I wouldn't be here. I'm inspired every day by women who are transition out of prison. Mahalo. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Kimmy, so much for sharing yourself, for your vulnerability. I've been just so amazed by the level of all the keynotes sharing of themselves, and you especially, Kimmy. I just really appreciate the level of sharing that you did with all of us today. Are there any questions, comments, and are you open to those?
Yeah.
Okay. Please feel free to use the hand raise feature or unmute. And oh, Lillian.
Hi, I have a friend and acquaintance. Her name is Ra Avis, and she was also went through incarceration and has experienced challenges like you've described, and she has published a book. Have you thought about, or the monologues maybe going to be able to be published and shared with the greater community?
Actually, the monologue started while we were in prison, and there was a volunteer teacher that came in. Her name is Kat Clough, and she started the program, and she helped us to write the poems and unpack those words. And so through those poems, we just took it out. So we did have we have prison monologue books, and I'm not sure about that. Actually, my Pat Clough would know, or my boss. Yeah.
Thank you, Kimmy. We have Susie S. and Judy D. also have their hand up.
You're muted, Susie.
Is there any way to like follow you or hear more of your story or anything like that?
I do have a Facebook. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
And Kimmy, we've got David Fry has his hand raised.
Hi.
Aloha, Kimmy. I'm David Bryan with the peer support with the MHAO here in Portland, but I'm from Oahu.
Ooh.
I also heard you went to Hinimalka. I went to Sand Island for a year, and I went to prison after that, and it changed my life. It's good to see you doing good things. It makes me have hope, because that's what I want to do. I want to come back to Hawaii and help addicts and help, my family and friends. And when I saw the footage of you, or the prison, it just reminded me of, I remember going there, seeing my cousins and my relatives there, and it was really touching. But it's really nice to see peer support coming to Hawaii. That's really awesome. I hope it increases and get more people into it, because it really is helpful. But mahalo for what you're doing.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you, Kimmy. We've also got Rhea Wolf has a hand raised.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Kimmy, for sharing your story. It's really one full of a lot of strength and courage and resiliency, and I really appreciate what you've gone through and the support that you're giving to others. I did put this in the chat, but I just wanted to bring this question up because I do have a lot of respect for people who say that going to prison saved their lives. And I volunteered in the prison system here in Oregon with women and men for over 15 years. And a lot of them would express that going to prison provided them with the safety and the support to be able to do their healing work. And so I get that and I appreciate it. And then I wonder if we could create a different system where that space to be safe and to heal could exist without ripping families apart, where people could still do their healing work and get the support that they need, but also still be connected to the larger world and not have to be part of a system that can be can really take people's power away and force them to submit to external authority as opposed to finding that that way on their own. So I'm just curious, what your thoughts are on that, especially thinking about how, at least in Oregon, a very large percentage of people that are in the prison system are there because of substance use or have a mental health challenge. And it seems like, maybe we could create a structure that is safe and supportive for them that isn't also punitive in nature. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are about that. And thank you so much.
Okay, so like our warden, Mark Patterson, who was the previous warden there, he decided to create a place. He called it a place of healing versus punishment, because when you go into prison and you walk through those gates, he said, Kimmy, you are forgiven. You can't, I couldn't understand that, because I was like, you don't even know what I did. I don't think anybody could forgive me. But it's true, like, can prison be a place of healing? Can my house be a place of healing? Can the beach be a place of healing? It can be a place of healing. If you stop, like for me, I had to stop looking at all the negative things going on around me and focus on what I need to do with myself, So he started a trauma-informed care, and this is where I met my boss, Tony Bisson, and they came into the prison and taught us, you hold the key to getting out and staying out. We did a class, we did a project program to where we could start a peer support where women who come into prison, we can help them and guide them to do what they need to do, right? That was a pilot project that we had. And so we had to take the trauma-informed care training too and learn about it so we could understand and help other women. So it was really our warden that was there, because really most of the women in there are in there for drugs, right? He saw that, man, there's really nobody with heinous crimes. Is like a couple or maybe 5, but he saw that and he wanted to make this change in the prison. So because it starts while you're in prison. If I didn't learn anything while I was in prison and I came out earlier than I thought I would be back in prison, because I didn't learn nothing. But I learned a lot while I was in prison, Thank you.
Thank you for that. And then we have a question in the chat. Julia is asking, are peer services being extended to the other islands?
Oh, that is our plan. As soon as, it gets started up here, because we're waiting for Department of Health. Yeah, Janie?
Mm-hmm.
So we're waiting for Department of Health, and of course, we're gonna expand it. We want every island to have a peer support, to be able to help women and men transitioning out of prison. That's important to us, because like if we can save there's like thousands of people in prison. If we can turn their mindset or turn their lives around or help them and support them in ways that they never thought anybody could, I think we could change the prison system and make it smaller, bring out all the gifts, because they have so many gifts that there's artists, there's so many people in there that have gifts that they don't even see. But we do want to extend, and that's our plan.
Yes, it is. And just keep waiting for that moment. And we know it's coming, where peer services will be recognized and well-funded and be able to expand across all the islands. Kimmy, I have a question.
Okay.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about what you're doing now? You're doing incredible things. And I know you shared a bit about your work at Puʻa Foundation, but you're also doing a bunch of other stuff. And
Well, no, I am doing a lot of things, but what takes up most of my time in my mind and everything, it stresses me out, is school. So I'm getting my bachelor's in science at Chaminade University. I'll be graduating next fall. Next fall, I'll be graduating and getting my bachelor's in environmental science and minoring in psychology. So that's a big step for me, because like I said, I went to prison with a 3rd grade level, and now I always get amazed when I'm like in school or reading something. It's like, whoa, how did I get here? But I know how, it's the peer support. It's people that want to surround me and help me and support me. That's how I got here, and myself.
You've worked so hard. Would it be okay? Are there more hands raised? Oh, Gail, your hand is raised.
Yes, I was wondering if there'd been any studies on recidivism rate, you know, if this has shown that it improves people from recurring and going back to prison.
Yeah. So, like I said, Warden Mark Patterson, he actually, like I said, he brought in the trauma informed care, but he did make a difference because we went to Kentucky, we went to the mainland, like 300 women went to the mainland. We went to Oklahoma, Texas, and Colorado, and then our last stop was Kentucky. So we did time in, I did like 4 years in Kentucky, but he brought us back home, and what he did was he separated us, and some came to WCCC, which is in Kailua, where I live, and then some went to the federal detention center. And so from that on, he reduced the people that were in there. There was like over 300 women, and he got it down to 250, I think. The census was like 250 or almost 200, but he brought it down so much that the prison system started changing, and you know, he implemented furlough and stuff like that to get the girls out earlier. So everything that he did reduce recidivism, but then because he's not there anymore, I mean, we still have women going in and out, yes, but because Hawaii is so different than the mainland, it's very different here, and it did work, but I think it's still working. Not sure.
Thank you.
And then we had a question in the chat. How do you handle imposter syndrome? They still struggle with it. So is that something you go through, Kimmy?
Imposter syndrome?
Like feeling like I think even you shared with your educational journey, how, you know, how did I get here? And so I know I've struggled with it too. Like, it's not comfortable. It feels like this is almost like we shouldn't be here or something, you know, in these roles, because it's so different than how we may have lived most of our life.
Oh yeah, I still deal with that, but I gotta like self-talk myself out of it. Like for example, for the public safety department here in Honolulu, which is they oversee the prison and everything in the prison. So they invited me to be on the board with them, it's called the re-entry, I forgot, but that was, but it was signed by the governor and everything. So I got to participate in that, and I felt really weird because I was like, oh my God, all these people are like, oh my gosh, that's the guy that put me in here, you know, like he's the big whip at public safety. So I felt out of place for a little while. I was like, I didn't know what to say, you know, it was different for me. But you know, eventually I was like, you know, just be yourself. And when I was myself, I just, you know, it was easier for me. I just gotta be myself, because you know, when you go in prison, you kind of lose your identity, yeah, like on the streets. So on the streets, you have this identity, like, okay, don't mess with me, because you know, I'm not gonna let anybody try and mess with me. So you get that identity. You know, I'm a thief, I'm a prostitute, I'm this, I'm that. So I have different identities and I just don't know who the hell I am. You know, I go to prison, it's the same thing, because you still have to have that toughness in you, you know, like, and you can't bow down, right? But that's not how it is in prison. Like you can't, you know, I didn't need to do that, but I did, until eventually, you know, going to the prisons and really helping me find my real true identity, who I am and where I came from, right? So it all has to do with identity. It's so important to know who you are and where you came from, right?
Yes. Thank you, Kimmy. Brenda has their hand up.
Hi, Kimmy. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for your story. It was tender and sweet, and I cried and I was filled with love. So thank you so much for that. I wanted to talk to you. It is my plan to move to Hawaii in 5 years with my fiance, who was born and raised in Hawaii on Kauai. And so my first part of my question, although somebody already answered it, was, is it being, promoted on the other islands? And how can I get involved now to help with the implementation of that? Or what are your suggestions?
Well, we do have a Oahu going home meeting every month. And I think,
great.
You know, I could send you a link or something for the meeting, or you can send me your email. We can send one to you.
I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Oh, yes, in the chat. Is there anything in place for the children of incarcerated parents? How do they get support and break the cycles?
The children of incarcerated parents. Oh, so you know, the Kids Day video that I showed, yeah, that is through the help of volunteers from Warden, and we got together with the churches. But the warden that I was talking about, Warden Mark Patterson, he is now the warden for Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility. And so he has implemented the same thing that he did while he was in WCCC, the women's prison. But he realizes that, you know, these kids, like, their connection with their family is so important. And I think connecting with their family, some have been abused and some not, but he has done so much on that side of the fence that some days they have a Christmas gathering where we can help pass out, you know, food and stuff like that. But he's taking care of that side. And, you know, he also took care of, like, we have a Christmas gathering, a Christmas Kids Day, where we make baskets filled with canned goods, toilet paper, whatever a caregiver needs, and donations of gift cards, and we give those to the caretakers. So yeah, you know, caretakers are important. And my boss and my coworker, they always help in trying to gather resources to take care of the caretakers, because we want them to know that we thank them and we are so grateful that they're there, you know. So it's like a full circle, like the kids, the women, and the mothers and the caretakers, you know, we gotta malama and take care of them too. So I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of went off.
Thanks again, Kimmy, so much. Also wondering, we still have some time, and totally great if, I think there was another question in the chat about connecting with your own children. How has that, if that's something you're open to sharing, or is that?
Oh yeah, me connecting with my children, like when I was in my addiction, my kids were so young that they ended up living with their grandmother. But when I got out of prison, they were older already. They were over like 18, 19. 20, you know, and I have 3 kids that really are afraid to talk to me, you know, and they did ask me questions and I didn't lie to them. And that's the one thing I don't want to do is lie to them, but I was very sensitive to them, but I didn't lie to them. And then I'm in touch with 3 of my other kids. So yeah, it has been like a blessing to me. You know, my kids are older, so it's kind of, it feels different. It's not like they're babies anymore where I can pick them up, you know. So when I first got to reunite with my kids, I didn't know how to act. I felt more like a friend than a mother. So it was kind of confusing to me, but then I had to realize the tools that I use, the things that I learned. And my son, who is in his addiction and is now in OCCC, he speaks to me and he talks to me, but he was living with me. I had to kick him out because he was in his addiction, and you know, I'm an addict too. So I said, you know what, son, you have to go. Like, for if you want to live here, you got to go to a program. So he left and he lived on the streets for a long time, and then he got arrested and now he's in prison. So I'm happy about that he's in prison, you know. Now I have to worry about him. But yeah, it was good.
Thanks again, Kimmy, so much. And I wonder too, just since we do have some time, if Matt or Tony would also like to share a little bit about the work that they're doing. And not to put anybody on the spot. Hi, Matt.
Hello, yes, I'll share a little bit.
Thank you.
It's always good, you know, to hear powerful, you know, testimonies of coming out of prison and the work they're doing now. So I'm just feel blessed, you know, to have met, you know, Puʻa Foundation, you know, having such great women beside me, because I want to take all of this stuff into our men's prison, you know, and that's what we really need right now with a few thousand incarcerated, you know, they come out, they go right back in because of the relapse. And, you know, so I just feel blessed that, you know, I was given this position to house men coming out, to help them transition safely back into society. You know, and one of the things I do is to help them get clean and sober, away from the drugs and alcohol. You know, so yeah, I'm just fired up, you know, for our next step as we move forward, you know, with Puʻa Foundation, on how we can, you know, get this out there to our public safety people. So yeah, thanks again for Kimmy. Yeah, stand strong, as we're always here for you.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Matt, can you is it okay if he shares just like really quick, like why he went to prison?
Well, okay. Well, I guess, you know, when I first hooked up with Puʻa Foundation, you know, I heard of you guys' curriculum, you know, from trauma to transformation, and that's basically majority of my life is growing up with a lot of the trauma and the abuse at home, you know, from my father, who was a pastor, you know, and just growing up always being beaten by our father, you know, and going to church, you know, doing the norm, but ended up, you know, as a young kid, you know, with that trauma, I grew up with a lot of anger and hate. So getting involved in a gang, you know, the mask I put on was I was that tough guy, you know, not afraid of anybody. So eventually led me to prison for attempted murder in 87. Then I finally picked up a murder charge in 88. And I still cry to today when I think of that. Yeah. So because of all the anger I had in me, you know, I didn't know how to deal with those situations, and just going to prison, went out, just doing the norm, with my time and, but coming out, I still was stuck. I was lost, but fortunately, the group of men that was part of a church, one of my cousin was part of the ministry, and he told them about my story, about the abuse me and my siblings, had through our father. So these group of men came out to witness to me and kept inviting me to church, and I kept avoiding it, because of my past experience of growing up in church. I never believed that there was a God, but I was married at that time. My wife and we had 3 children, and when I told my wife, she said, well, nothing else is working, why don't we go to church? And it was that time in 1996 when the pastor gave his message. He gave an altar call, and the words I always remember him saying is there anyone here who never felt loved before? And that's when I stood up. I cried. And since then, the life I live today is just all for him. So since 1996, God gave me this plan to start this ministry. So I run that ministry called First Lap. LAP is an acronym for Life After Prison. And in 2004, I started another ministry that reaches out to our youth called Peacemakers, in honor of my victim and my brother who was killed because of my crime. So just continue to do these 2 things, reaching out to kids in the schools, and that's how the prison monologue, we connected. Just sharing our stories with the kids to bring some healing to a lot of our men that goes out with me to continue to do this work. So that's basically everything in a nutshell. Today I'm married, 27 years, 5 beautiful children. They're all doing well, and I just continue to trust God to lead us, down, this next journey for us. So that's basically it. Everything.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Matt is an amazing brother, I swear. So humble. Like, I learned so much from him.
Thank you so much, Matt. Yes, you are a leader in this transformation work and this peer support. You've just been doing it for years, even before, it had an official name. So just appreciate you so much, and all the lives that you impact. Is Tony with us too? Maybe Tony could share a little bit about the Puʻa Foundation before we wrap up.
Tony is at the farm.
Oh, okay.
Right there. I can't hear you.
Oh, is she trying to talk?
Yeah.
Kimmy, can you share a little bit about the farm?
Oh, the farm. Oh, where are they? Tony, I can't hear you. Oh, they're at the Mercy House.
Oh, okay.
They're at the Mercy House. So yeah, they're getting stuff for the farm. We have a farm in Waimanalo that, the women from the prison, the work line, they come out of the prison and they get to work on that farm, and they work super hard. So yeah, that's where Tony's at. She's like helping the girls get the stuff together. So yeah, all these women are community status. They're in the prison and they come out to the farm and they just weed whack and take care of the farm. They're awesome. Strong.
Yes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and you all grow all different kinds of fruit and turmeric.
Oh yeah, I gotta send you some, Jane.
And just it's so beautiful. And yes, having gone out there, and it's great. The Puʻa Foundation and Kimmy bring food and coffee drinks and just to nourish the women. And they really, really work hard.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, we are almost at time. Kimmy and Matt, if you want to put your either website or email or whatever you feel like contact information to share so that people can stay connected with you, that would be awesome. And yes, somebody said there's so much love to both of you and encouragement and just words of gratitude for your sharing today and for the work you do. And someone said, oh, Kimmy, watch out. You're going to get so many friend requests.
Yay. Thank you, everyone, for joining me in my presentation. I was super nervous.
You did amazing, amazing. And just again, thank you so much. And I love you so much. And I can't wait to see what's next and your graduation. I know.
I'm probably going to cry a lot, but.
Yeah, right. You worked so hard. And thank you, Matt.
Yeah. Matt, did you put your information on there?
He did.
Your email. My email's on there too if anyone needs anything from me.
Thank you.
But thank you so much, everyone. You guys have a beautiful day. It is 8:42 here in Hawaii.
Oh, yes. Thank you for joining so early.
I got up at 4, girl. Just trying to be there.
Woo, that time change can be brutal. Oh, well, enjoy the last and final day of Pure Apocalypse, and much love to you all. And mahalo, Kimmy and Matt. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody.